The Director General World Trade Organization (WTO), Dr. Okonjo Iweala, has called on African leaders to stop relying on foreign aids and focus on mobilizing domestic resources to attract investments and drive economic growth. She's 100% correct. And me, of a person, even though some people, due to some reasons or some illness, rely heavily from some of these aids. But truth be told, these aids are not aids. These are indirect bribe, because no country is going to be giving you their hard-earned taxpayers' money for free. And this is also another tool that the West is using to keep Africa under chains. If at all our leaders ever wish Africa well, ever wish their citizens well, this is a time to free themselves from these chains of indirect bribe called aids. Because these are money that when these countries give you, when they are coming for anything in your country, no matter what it is, you can't be able to resist them. Yes. So if African leaders really want to free us from these chains of indirect bribe called aid, this is the time for such African leaders to prove African citizens wrong. These are the time for these African leaders to prove the West wrong. These are the times for these African leaders to put in proper use the youths in Africa. Africa have the youngest youths in all the continent in the world. This is the time for Africa to key into its untapped resources. This is a time for Africa to brazen up. This is the time for Africa to tighten its belt and have a total control of its sovereignty to dictate how its natural resources can be sold both at local and international markets, in order to have total control of the revenue that is coming from the natural resources Africa is endowed with. If Africa can have a total control of its sovereignty, Africa can manage its resources. Africa don't need these evil aids. Africa don't need any loan from World Bank or IMF that they will be borrowing them to pay with 17 or 19%. So this is a wake-up call for African leaders. If at all they ever meant well for African continent and Africans, this is a time for them to step up and prove it. Yes, and don't just sit there and cry like little babies, waiting for money that even when they have been giving them this money for all these years, they have never put in any of this money in use for the benefit of their own citizens. They are busy looting these monies away.